Explaining the differences between the rich and poor can be challenging, as both groups have their own ideas about how life should be. Both groups also tend to defend their way of living, which can make it difficult to have a civil conversation. If a poor person overhears someone making disparaging comments about their circumstances, they may take those comments as proof that they're living in squalor. In many cases, both the rich and poor are aware of the economic and social challenges they face, but they have very different methods of coping with them. One way the rich and poor cope with their financial situations is by comparing them to the perceived wealth of members of the other group. Both groups generally agree that they're better off than the poor, even if they haven't been able to financially secure themselves for years. They also agree that everyone should work hard to achieve this level of wealth. In addition, both groups believe that people should seek out wealthy friends to emulate and seek out wealthy spouses to gain wealth. They may also seek out wealthy employers to work for and gain wealth through their connections. In addition, both groups actively reinforce their belief that they are better off than the poor by purchasing lavish gifts for them even when those gifts cost more than most things bought by the poor. Although life is much more difficult for lower-class individuals when compared to upper-class ones, it's important not to minimize the hardships faced by both groups. Members of the lower class may have few material possessions, but they also have few sources of income. They must rely on wages from jobs or government assistance to cover their costs of living. Because government assistance tends to be very limited and disorganized, lower-class people often find it difficult to receive enough help to stay afloat. The fact that most jobs pay substandard wages makes it even harder for lower-class people to afford necessities. In addition, having few material possessions makes it difficult for lower-class individuals to obtain credit when they need it, which can make it even harder for them to afford necessities. The poor understand that both their circumstances and level of wealth are inferior when compared to the rich. However, many still feel inferior because most jobs available to them don't pay enough to cover living expenses. As a result, they may look down on the lower class as ungrateful shirkers who refuse to try hard enough to achieve success. Both groups recognize that others are struggling with poverty, but some may still feel threatened by those who look like they don't value money as much as they do. To get a clear picture on the difference in the wealthy and the impoverished, here are 7 things that wealthy people do and the poor do not. 1. Rich people read books on success. Books contain a plethora of ideas for a small fee, but you must read and comprehend them. Rich people are always educating themselves. Every year, the top 50 CEOs in America read 50 books on success. Each year, the average American reads 1.5 success novels. 2. Rich people forego the now in order to secure the future. They put money and time into their future. They invest time and money, for example, in their education, planning, careers, and value. They spend their nights working on themselves, their businesses, and their careers. They tackle their difficulties. Poor individuals prefer to relax and appreciate their surroundings. They spend a lot of time watching television, socializing online and offline, playing video games, partying, traveling, eating, drinking, and having fun. They do it if it helps them escape from their worries. 3. Rich people believe they are in control of their own destiny. Over 85% of millionaires and billionaires made their fortunes on their own. They did not inherit, steal, or win the lottery. They understand that they must work for their fortune. When horrible things happen, they learn. People in poverty expect others to save them. They place responsibility for their difficulties on others. They wish and hope that someone will come along and give them their fortune. 4. Rich people set financial objectives. For example, retire at 65 with no debt, a gorgeous property, and $1 million in savings. They then calculate how much money they need to save each year and month in order to accomplish their financial objective. They write down their goals and keep them wherever they can view them every day. A sticky note behind a restroom mirror, on their home screens, or in their wallets, for example. People who are poor have no financial goals. They don't see the point. 5. Rich people prioritize their health. They work out, study food labels, and regulate their cravings. They have yearly physicals and follow their doctor's recommendations. They understand that good health translates into more energy and a longer, happier life. People in poverty consume unhealthy foods. Doctors are despised by them. They poison their bodies with sugar, salt, and fat. 6. People who are wealthy spend time with those who are successful. They like learning from other wealthy individuals and are eager to share their own lessons. You are inspired and driven when you surround yourself with successful people. Impoverished folks hang out with fellow poor individuals. People who are poor reinforce their negative beliefs. 7. Rich folks use credit sensibly. They use credit to acquire goods that will pay off in the long run, such as education, new businesses, and long-term upgrades. They spend their spare money on meaningless items. Poor individuals utilize credit to buy luxury phones, clothes, tickets, vacation, and expensive gifts, among other things. One way the rich and poor cope with their financial conditions is to compare them to the imagined affluence of members of the other group. Furthermore, both groups feel that people should seek out affluent friends to mimic and wealthy spouses to become wealthy. This video shows 7 things that affluent people do that poor people do not, to give you a clear image of the contrast between the wealthy and the underprivileged. So you should now be very much aware of the do's and don'ts. If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe for more. Everyone is welcome to the Library of Money Makers.